The rainforest is alive with sound, monkeys chattering in the canopy, parrots screeching in bursts of color, and the steady hum of insects pulsing through the damp air. A patrol team from the Kivu Wildlife Trust moves carefully along a narrow trail, boots sinking into the mud. Their mission is simple but dangerous: track poacher activity before more lives are lost. At the front of the line walks Mara Nyong'o, a young conservationist whose sharp eyes scan every shadow between the trees. She's been on dozens of patrols, but today feels different. The air is heavier, as if the forest itself is holding its breath. Then it comes. A cry, high-pitched, fragile, almost human. The team halts instantly. Mara raises her hand, signaling silence. The cry echoes again, drifting through the trees, a desperate, broken sound that pierces the jungle's constant noise. Her pulse quickens. "That's not a bird," she whispers. The rangers exchange uneasy glances. They've heard this before, but rarely. It's the sound of a baby gorilla, alone. And if a baby is alone, it means only one thing. The team moves toward the sound, machetes slicing through thick undergrowth. Every step tightens the knot in Mara's chest. She knows what they might find, but she prays she's wrong. The cries grow louder, more urgent. Then they see him. A tiny gorilla, no more than a few months old, lies on the forest floor near a broken branch. His fur is matted with mud, his ribs visible beneath thin skin. He clutches the splintered stick like it's the only thing keeping him alive. His small face is twisted in fear, his wide eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Mara's breath catches. He's alone. The jungle is silent around him, no mother, no troop, no protective arms to shield him. Just emptiness. The kind of emptiness poachers leave behind when they kill adults and abandon the infants. One of the rangers swears under his breath, fury flashing in his eyes. Another mutters, "He shouldn't even be alive out here." He won't last another day. Mara kneels slowly, heart aching. She knows the odds. Without rescue, this infant will starve or be taken by predators before the night ends. But to approach too fast risks scaring him further. His tiny teeth show as he lets out a trembling hiss, a brave attempt to fight against giants. Her voice softens, barely above a whisper. "It's okay, little one. We're not here to hurt you." The baby whimpers, clutching the stick tighter. His frail body shakes. Mara's throat tightens. She sees more than just fear. She sees grief. He has already lost everything. The team forms a protective circle, scanning the trees for danger. Mara stays low, extending a slow, steady hand toward him. The distance between them feels infinite. Every second drags. The infant cries again, weaker now. His eyes flutter, exhaustion threatening to claim him. Mara leans closer, determination burning in her chest. Hold on, just hold on. And in that moment, the fight for his life begins. The infant gorilla's cries echo through the clearing, weaker now, fading with every passing breath. His tiny hands tremble as he clutches the broken stick, his last defense against a world too cruel for him. Mara Nyong'o lowers herself to the ground, slow and steady. Every movement is calculated, her body language calm. She knows that sudden gestures could send the baby into panic, wasting what little strength he has left. Behind her, a ranger whispers into the radio. "We've found an orphan. Immediate extraction needed. Repeat, immediate." His voice cracks under the weight of urgency. The infant bares his small teeth, a pitiful attempt at defiance. His frail arms shake as he tries to crawl backward, but exhaustion pulls him down. His chest heaves rapidly, each breath shallow. Mara inches closer, her hand extended, palm open. "Shh. It's okay. You don't have to fight." The baby lets out another cry, hoarse this time. Then his body falters, his arms giving way beneath him. He collapses into the mud, too weak to resist. Mara's throat tightens. She doesn't hesitate. In one swift but gentle motion, she scoops the tiny gorilla into her arms. His body is shockingly light, skin and bones beneath a thin layer of fur. She feels the rapid flutter of his heartbeat against her chest, fragile and frantic. The infant whimpers at first, pawing weakly at her shirt. His wide eyes flash with fear. Mara rocks gently, whispering, "You're safe now, I promise." The gorilla's small fingers curl into her clothing. It's not trust, at least, not yet. It's instinct. A desperate grab for something, anything that feels solid. But it's enough. "Move," the lead ranger orders. "We don't have much time." The team springs into action. They fan out, scanning the trees for signs of poachers. Every rustle of leaves feels like a threat, every shadow a hunter's silhouette. The forest has seen too much blood, and none of them doubt it could happen again. Mara clutches the baby tighter as they trek through the jungle. The infant's whimpers grow softer, fading into weak sighs. His eyes droop, but he doesn't let go of her shirt. He clings with the last of his strength, refusing to release the one thing keeping him upright. One ranger glances back, his expression grim. "If we don't get fluids into him soon—" He doesn't finish the sentence. Mara knows. She can feel it in the fragile rise and fall of the tiny chest against her. This isn't just a rescue, it's a race against time. The group moves quickly, weaving between thick roots and muddy slopes. Branches whip their faces, rain drizzles through the canopy, and the ground becomes treacherous. But they don't slow down, not for 1 second. The infant stirs weakly, his tiny hand pressing against Mara's neck. She steadies her grip, whispering again, "Stay with me. Just a little longer." For every step the jungle seems to push back, mud sucking at boots, vines tangling ankles, thunder rumbling overhead. But Mara never loosens her hold. The orphaned gorilla's life hangs in the balance, and she refuses to let him slip away. The jungle becomes an enemy. Every step forward is a battle, every sound in the canopy a reminder that time is running out. Mara Nyong'o grips the frail infant tightly against her chest. His breaths are shallow, irregular, each one a whisper of life clinging to the edge. His small fingers still clutch her shirt, but the grip weakens with every passing minute. "Keep moving," the lead ranger barks, his machete slicing through a curtain of vines. The path ahead is a mire of mud and roots, the kind of terrain that swallows boots whole. But no one hesitates. They know the truth. If they falter, the orphan won't survive the journey. A radio crackles. "Emergency team en route to rendezvous point. Estimated time, 40 minutes. Mara's heart pounds. 40 minutes. The way the baby's chest rises and falls, she isn't sure he has 10. The team pushes harder. Sweat drips into their eyes, mixing with the misty rain that has begun to fall. Thunder rolls overhead, shaking the canopy. The jungle feels alive, hostile, as if testing their resolve. The infant whimpers faintly, stirring in Mara's arms. She glances down. His eyes flicker open for a moment, glassy and unfocused, before sliding shut again. Panic grips her chest. "Stay with me," she whispers, voice breaking. She presses her lips to his damp fur. "Please, don't give up." The rangers hear the desperation in her tone, but say nothing. They quicken their pace instead, forming a protective circle around her. If poachers are nearby, this vulnerable infant is worth more than gold on the black market. Every shadow could hide a gun. They reach a steep ridge, slick with rain. The team clambers up, boots slipping, hands grasping roots for leverage. Mara struggles with one hand free, the other cradling the baby. A ranger extends his arm, hauling her up with a grunt. She never loosens her grip on the gorilla, not once. Halfway across the ridge, the ground gives way beneath another ranger. He tumbles to his knee, cursing, but regains his balance. The noise jolts the infant awake. He lets out a sharp cry, tiny fists clenching at Mara's chest. She soothes him instantly, rocking as she moves, whispering in rhythm to her strides. "Shh, you're safe, I've got you." The baby's cry fades into a whimper, then silence. His eyes close again. His grip softens. Mara's stomach twists. She presses her ear to his chest, listening for the fragile beat of his heart. Relief floods her when she hears it, but it's faint, frighteningly faint. The group breaks into a clearing. Ahead, through sheets of rain, the outline of the rendezvous camp emerges, tents, equipment, and the red cross of the mobile veterinary unit. A shout goes up. "We're close! Just a few more minutes!" Mara clutches the infant tighter, her voice fierce, urgent. "You hear that? You're going to make it." Her legs ache, her arms burn, but she doesn't stop. Not until she crosses into the clearing where waiting hands rush forward with stretchers and medical kits. She kneels at last, lowering the baby into the arms of the vet team. For the first time since the cries rang out in the forest, she exhales. But the battle is not over. The fight to keep him alive has only just begun. The storm breaks just as the team bursts into the rescue camp. Rain lashes the canvas tents. Thunder rumbles overhead, and the air is thick with urgency. The veterinary team rushes forward, their hands already gloved, their eyes locked on the fragile bundle clutched in Mara Nyong'o's arms. She lowers the infant reluctantly, her chest tightening as she releases him into their care. "Vitals dropping," one vet mutters, pressing a stethoscope against the tiny chest. "Severely dehydrated," another says, setting up an IV. "Wound on the forearm, infected. We need to flush it now." Mara hovers just outside the circle of medics, rain dripping from her hair, fists clenched. The cries of the infant slice through the storm as the vets clean his injuries. His small body jerks with each touch, his weak voice calling out in desperation. Her throat aches. She can't bear to stand idle. Ignoring protocol, Mara kneels beside the exam table. She whispers softly, her voice steady despite the chaos. "It's okay, little one. You're safe. I'm right here." The infant's eyes flutter open, wide with terror. For a moment, he thrashes weakly, his hands swiping at the air. But then he sees her. Their eyes lock. Recognition? Perhaps not. But in the blur of strange faces and cold hands, Mara's presence is different, familiar, the one constant since he left the forest floor. The vets finish flushing the wound and secure the IV. Fluids drip steadily into his vein. His breathing steadies, though it remains shallow. He whimpers again, softer this time, and turns his face toward Mara. Her heart lurches. She presses her hand gently against the bars of the small recovery cage they've placed him in. "I won't leave," she whispers. Minutes drag into an hour. The storm fades, the camp quiets, and still Mara remains by the cage. She hums softly, rocking on her heels. The melody is simple, a tune her grandmother once sang to her as a child. The infant stirs. His tiny hand reaches out, trembling, through the narrow space between the bars. Mara's breath catches. Slowly, carefully, she extends her fingers until they brush his. The contact is feather-light, but it carries the weight of survival. The baby grips her finger weakly at first, then tighter. His eyes close, his chest rising in a steadier rhythm. The frightened cries stop. The vets exchange glances, astonished. One shakes his head in quiet wonder. He's calming down because of her. Mara swallows hard, tears blurring her vision. She doesn't dare move, doesn't dare break the fragile thread of trust forming between them. She just stays, present, steady, unyielding. Hours later, when the medics finally step back, the camp breathes easier. The infant is stable, exhausted, but alive. And as he drifts into sleep, his tiny hand remains curled around Mara's finger, refusing to let go. In that fragile moment, the fear of the forest gives way to something new. Not just survival, but the first spark of trust. Morning breaks over the rescue center with a chorus of birdsong and golden light pouring through the canopy. The air feels lighter, calmer, so different from the storm that had raged the night before. Inside the infirmary tent, the infant gorilla stirs. His chest rises and falls with steady rhythm now, the fragile gasps of yesterday replaced with the soft breathing of rest. His arm, once raw with infection, is wrapped in clean bandages. His belly, no longer sunken, lifts with strength restored by careful feeding. Mara Nyong'o sits by his side, her hand resting near the bars of his small recovery space. She hasn't left since the moment she carried him into camp. When his eyes flicker open, they fall on her instantly. For the first time, there is no fear in them, only recognition. He reaches out, his small hand curling around her fingers. This time, the grip is stronger. Not desperate, not weak, just certain. Mara smiles through her exhaustion, her voice soft. "Good morning, little one. You made it." Days stretch into weeks. Each morning brings progress. The infant, once unable to lift his head, now crawls shakily across blankets. The vets cheer softly when he first takes fruit from their hands. His laughter-like calls echo through the center when he discovers a toy ball, batting it with clumsy delight. And through it all, he never forgets Mara. She becomes his anchor, the one he clings to when startled by new sounds, the one he curls against when he grows tired. The trust born in desperation has blossomed into a bond. News of his rescue spreads quickly. A single photo, Mara holding the fragile infant against her chest in the storm, goes viral. Headlines race across the world. Orphaned gorilla saved from poachers. Against all odds, a jungle rescue. The baby who wouldn't let go. Donations flood the Wildlife Trust. Messages pour in from children, families, and classrooms around the globe. People call him a symbol of hope, a reminder of what humanity can choose to protect instead of destroy. Months later, the infant is no longer frail. His fur is glossy, his limbs strong. He swings clumsily on a low branch in the sanctuary's nursery enclosure, tumbling into the grass with a squeal of joy. Volunteers laugh, clapping as he tries again. Mara watches from nearby, pride and relief written across her face. Tears prick her eyes as she remembers the broken creature on the forest floor, the heartbeat that nearly faded in her arms. Now, that same heartbeat is strong enough to rattle the branches with his playful energy. One afternoon, during a public awareness event, children gather at the sanctuary's observation window. They watch in awe as the infant clambers over logs, then scampers straight toward Mara, throwing his arms around her leg. The children cheer, parents wipe away tears. A boy whispers to his mother, he knows she saved him. And maybe he does, because when Mara kneels and the gorilla presses his head against her chest, the world sees more than an animal's survival. They see a promise that even in the darkest corners of the wild, compassion can rewrite destiny. What began with a cry of despair in the jungle has become a story of hope, a story that will leave hearts breathless for generations. Not all cries in the wild end in silence. Some end in rescue. Some end in hope. A baby gorilla, left with nothing, found everything in the arms of compassion, and a rescue that began with desperation became a story the world will never forget. Because survival isn't just about strength, it's about trust and the courage to protect the vulnerable. If this story left you breathless, if you believe no life is too small to save, please like, share, and subscribe for more true stories of animal courage, compassion, and second chances. Tell us in the comments, do you believe this little gorilla knew he was being saved? And what does his survival teach us about our responsibility to protect the wild? Because sometimes the most powerful stories are not of power, but of mercy.